welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to talk about some of the economic development openings that have been going on in town. Sometimes you don't see them and you kind of miss what's going on. So here to give us some perspective is Leonard Sledge. He's our Economic Development Director. Welcome back.
Thank you, Robin, for having me back. It's good to be back on Round Robin in the hot seat.
It is the hot seat because I'm going to start asking you some questions.
That's good.
You know, City Council has pretty clearly laid out their economic development goals for the city.
Yes.
And those are, see if I get this right, it's a test for me.
Okay.
Jobs, especially higher paying jobs and tech jobs, higher value housing,
Yes.
retail, and tourism.
You are 4 for 4. Perfect.
And a lot of those tie in together. And your department has responsibility for half,
Well,
pretty solely, but we all work together.
You are absolutely correct. I mean, we're always looking to help add new jobs to the economy, to the local economy here in Hampton. Always looking to partner with other city departments and the business community to help realize really the completion and the success of those goals in terms of higher value housing, retail, and tourism development. All of those things are important for us to continue to build and grow a healthy and vibrant economy.
So let's start. You know, people care about all of them, but from what I hear on social media and the calls I get from residents, retail and restaurants are huge. And,
Yes.
and I'm going to throw the breweries into that pile too, because we have changed. Hampton has changed dramatically
Yes, we
in
have.
that scene. And sometimes we forget to look back and say, a few years ago, none of that was here.
Well, that's almost correct. From a brewery craft beverage standpoint, Hampton is the proud home of the second oldest craft brewer in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
And the first in Hampton Roads.
And the first in Hampton Roads, the St. George Brewing Company. And the team at St. George, they do a phenomenal job. The Commonwealth of Virginia as a whole has seen explosive growth in the craft brewery and craft beverage industry, both large and small. And I like to think that we help to position some of the projects for success in the city of Hampton and are, you know, moving more and more day by day. You know, we mentioned St. George, but there's also Ouzel Finch at Fort Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
There's Bull Island Brewing in downtown Hampton. They have a beautiful view. They're right on the Hampton River.
Yeah.
You have a new one that will be coming online, the Capstan Brewing Company.
Now, I think you should take a second and announce that, because although we know it's been in the works
Yes.
because of permits, they haven't. There hasn't been an official announcement. So tell us about Capstan.
The Capstan Brewing Company. We've worked with that company for many months, helping them to find and lock in on a good location. Most recently, they had their live entertainment permit approved, and so they will be opening up along the Magruder Boulevard corridor in Hampton Road Center North. Again, just another exciting business in the city of Hampton.
And what I love is that if you're going to do a brewery tour, they're right on the way from the Fort Monroe to the downtown to the Armory, which we'll get to Magruder, and then out to St. George. It really connects the dots there beautifully.
It does, and it will be interesting to see how someone takes the initiative to really put together a tour. And someone, you know, craft beverage, craft beer enthusiasts, they are true enthusiasts.
Yes,
and no different than someone who has a palate that is made perfectly for fine wines, no different than the craft beverage industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just very pleased to see the growth and the opportunities.
And I skipped the cidery. You'd go from Fort Monroe to Sly Clyde Cidery.
The Sly Clyde Cidery on Mellon Street in Phoebus. Brothers Tim and Doug Smith are taking a property that's been in their family for a very long time, and they're converting it into a cidery. And we're really excited. We had a great partnership with the Commonwealth of Virginia through their AFID grant program, where we were able to help secure some state funding for that project, and also leverage some of our local grant programs for it as well. That's another great project in Phoebus on Mellon Street, and I absolutely love seeing the activity that is happening there as well.
And I'm so excited. I just recently toured a cidery and did a tasting. No idea that there were that many varieties.
Yes.
That, you know, whatever brand of apple you pick or crab apple is going to make a huge difference. And that was really, you think of Jefferson and Monticello and wines, but what people produced for their own use when we were the colonies and in the early days of this country was ciders,
Yes.
because it was kind of easy.
Yes.
And with people who can't do gluten, can't always do beers, it's a great alternative.
It is. People like what they like and they know what they like. And so it's good to have another alternative.
But when you go to a tasting, you find stuff you didn't know you liked. I always
Well,
have.
that's a fair point as well.
It's wonderful. Okay, so I keep interrupting, but we're really exploding in that scene. And Vanguard, tell us what you know about how they're progressing.
That is an absolutely exciting project. Well, one, you will probably hear me say that several times, an absolutely exciting project, because we have so many going on in the city. The Vanguard is really special and near and dear to a lot of us. I remember as a child growing up driving past the National Guard Armory and seeing all the big trucks and the artillery. And when the National Guard moved to Coliseum Central, the city purchased the building and continued for years to look for an adaptive reuse of it. It stayed as a part of the downtown master plan as an anchor for downtown development and redevelopment, but unfortunately we weren't able to get anything to really stick, to drive projects forward there.
Well, and I will say, council turned down a couple of proposals that surfaced in the community and took a little bit of a hit for it, because it was a building that shouldn't just be a homeless shelter. Not that we shouldn't take care of the homeless, or that shouldn't just be, I think, a dance studio or gymnastics was one. They waited until they got the right opportunity that's going to generate tax dollars and draw people from at least Richmond to Virginia Beach, I think.
Well, the Vanguard will certainly do that. I think it's important for folks to also hear and understand that that site was built in 1936, and we were very fortunate that it successfully is now a part of the Virginia Register of Historic Places. We put out an RFP looking for someone to use it as a craft brewery, craft distillery, or a live entertainment venue. And we were really fortunate to have a company, a development team, who said, I will create a craft brewery, I'll create a craft distillery, I'll make it a live entertainment venue, and also we'll put a restaurant there. And what we have is the Vanguard. And we are looking forward to them being open by the end of this calendar year. They already have national recognition. It's wonderful to go. As a matter of fact, I was just in the building yesterday. It was really wonderful to see the transformation that continues to take place and how genuinely excited people are to step foot through those doors.
I can't wait to see it. When we get a behind the scenes tour, I want to go, because I watch it every day from the outside, and the building, always looked good from the outside, but it looks great now. It is polished and spiffy, and the windows. I mean, it really is wonderful when we can reuse a treasure like that.
Absolutely.
For the public.
Absolutely.
It's fabulous.
Yes.
Okay. So all of that's going on. What else, retail-wise, what do we know in other restaurants or retail venues?
So retail is changing, not just in the city of Hampton, but nationwide. And it's a phenomenon that we have to continue to figure out ways to adapt to. We work every day looking for opportunities to backfill existing space, to populate new space, and we've had some level of success. People love to go out, people love to experience new and different cuisines. We have seen some new growth, some new opportunities to emerge in Coliseum Central, as well as in downtown and Phoebus and other pockets. And it's just nonstop. But what I will say is that property owners across the city are diligently working to backfill spaces. Doesn't always happen as quickly and as expeditiously as we'd all like to see, but it's always a work in progress.
There have been, those national trends that have affected Hampton when the parent company closes the store. It isn't necessarily Hampton, but, restaurants come and go anyway. There's always a certain amount of churn in that. But retail has become so difficult because while people might moan that, so-and-such store is closing, it's a national thing, and they weren't shopping there. They were on their little phones shopping. And that is changing what retail is. It's hard. We want the stores, but we also want the convenience of online shopping. So we're driving that trend.
You know, so whenever we talk about retail and whenever I address questions about retail, I ask people, how often in the past 30 days have you purchased something online? And inevitably, more than half of the hands in the room go up. That's what's driving the changing nature of retail. And even for our brick and mortar stores, what we find is that the selection of items that exist is more robust than an online format. Even yesterday, when I went out to lunch, I ordered on an app just to walk in to pick it up. And so
Yes,
you know,
it is different.
Technology is really changing our spending patterns, our habits, and the like. And again, we just have to figure out how to continue to adapt. You know, we look for more entertainment-based, food and experience-based type of retail opportunities. And as a matter of fact, just last week, if not the week prior, Painting with a Twist opened in the Peninsula Town Center. Again, that's a place where someone can go and have a great experience.
Yeah, it's sort of retail in that you come out with a product.
Yes.
But you do it yourself, you go with friends, you know, that experience-based stuff has to be local. You can't do that online. So
Correct.
How do we grow that niche?
Well, I think it's one, unearthing opportunities. The one thing that is happening also is that there are more and more new companies coming online that are national. So companies that might have started as local or regional that are experiencing growth as people go and find out about them. And so it's a matter of us finding out, you know, where are those opportunities, and more specifically, companies who are looking to grow in the Hampton Roads market. You know, years ago, people may have seen or heard about Smash Burger as they've traveled to other parts of the country. And it was just a matter of time before Smash Burger, in terms of their growth plans and development opportunities, migrated to the city of Hampton. No different than First Watch or no different than Mission Barbecue.
Oh my gosh, that's hugely popular. Like, you can't hardly get in there at lunchtime. It's great.
It is, and so, you know, while we do recognize that we see some closures, we also need to be mindful that there are other things that are opening as well. And, you know, we see that a lot in terms of the national retail companies, the national restaurants and chains, but one of the things that's really, really wonderful about Hampton are the local businesses, the local restaurants, the local shops, boutique shops, antique shops, you name it. We really do have some treasures here in the city that we are continuing to be hopeful that people outside of the city continue to learn about Phoebus, Fort Monroe, downtown Hampton as truly wonderful destinations to come and really experience a unique side of Hampton.
Well, I will say, you know, it used to be that, you know, Ghent was kind of the place for foodies, and then that became really popular, and then the chains moved in and took over some of those wonderful local spots, and then it kind of moved down 21st Street, and it has moved to Hampton now, and I am seeing, you know, when the Barking Dog, which is a hot dog stand, admittedly a different, unique, wonderful one,
very good hot dog,
gets traffic from Norfolk and Virginia Beach, you're like, wow, people are writing about Hampton as this foodie scene. And foodie scene doesn't mean I have to go drop, you know, $50 a person. It's local fresh food, done well, done with a twist, just something a little different.
I think, you know, you mentioned the Barking Dog. I think where Hampton is in terms of our regional geography is important to note. You know, the times where I'm sitting there on the Sunset Creek, I see boaters coming in, and they're tying up, and they're spending time at the restaurant. And so our waterways are another important avenue, so to speak, for people to arrive to the city to experience all that we have. You know, I was joking with Carlisle Bland, the owner of Venture Marker 20 and the newest Brown Chicken Brown Cow.
Yeah, he's just expanded.
And, you know, the few times that I've been to Brown Chicken Brown Cow, I'm like, Carlisle, I came in, I've ordered one thing, and I cannot get away from ordering
I know.
this
I
one
get the same hamburger every time.
because it is
so
absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
And, you know, people like Carlisle, who helped to really create and define sense of place in downtown and who have that entrepreneurial spirit.
And Gary McIntyre and Sean Pay.
And Gary
you've
and
seen
Sean
a lot of that.
and
the
others.
Mango ladies
Lakeisha,
are
Tanisha, and
expanding
Nzinga.
all over Phoebus.
You know, Kat at the Point. I mean, there are just so
right.
many people who love the city of Hampton and who are finding success in the city of Hampton. And we just want to help continue to create a climate where they can continue to do the same and where others can as well.
And I think that is what we've seen, is that the Hampton demographics, as they appear in black and white, don't always look favorable to national chain people.
Right.
When you look at the income of Hampton University students, you don't see numbers, but they have spending power.
Correct.
And the income of military active duty personnel appears low because you don't look at the housing allowances and some of the other benefits. And people who do business here see that reality and are going to fill those spots. I mean, the national folks better wake up soon.
Yeah, and you know, it's also, you know, just like you hear you hear the words location, location, location. Activity breeds activity. And just pointing back to Phoebus, I had a conversation with a business owner, and I asked the question, are you starting to see the difference, or a difference rather, in your receipts? And the answer was yes. And so, you know, if you walk down Mellon Street now on Monday, again, because of some foot traffic, a lot of the businesses are closed on Monday. Well, some of those businesses used to be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so now, you know, as an objective, it's to figure out how do we help to create more activity, working with the Phoebus Partnership. How do we create more activity there and in other places in the city so that there is the demand for those businesses to be open 7 days a week?
Well, Phoebus is so dependent on Fort Monroe traffic. It is the pathway to Fort Monroe and out of Fort Monroe. And when all those military people stopped driving back and forth every day, it hurt. But when the National Park Service ramps up beyond, you know, 2 staffers, and when more businesses move in, and people don't understand how long all of that takes, that will be a natural bump for downtown and Phoebus, I think.
Yes. Fort Monroe is a national treasure, hands down. And you are absolutely right. With the installation closing, you had the departure of military and civilian personnel. Fort Monroe is still a vibrant community. There are people living, there are private citizens who live at the fort. You know, there are tremendous residential opportunities, but also there are some wonderful companies that are located at Fort Monroe as well. One of the newest companies in the city and also in the Commonwealth, Liberty Source, they're headquartered at Fort Monroe. They started off by leasing 2 buildings at the fort. They've now leased a 3rd, and we'd like to see them continue to grow at Fort Monroe and in the city of Hampton as well.
Now you just transitioned to jobs.
Oh.
And I will say, you know, Hampton has some call center jobs, and they are wonderful and stable and a good first job for folks. But we were looking for also higher wage jobs. They're sort of in between. Liberty Source is not a call center. It is more skilled workforce.
They're a business process. They're an outsourced business processing organization.
I don't know what that means, Leonard.
That means that they do work on behalf of other organizations that might be financial in nature or a number of other things.
So a lot of it, you know, there's more skill. There's accountant, there's all kinds of folks, and they put a real emphasis on hiring military spouses, and military family members,
yes.
And it's just such a good fit for Hampton Roads.
I think so. I mean, we truly love and appreciate, you know, the value of the veteran population, the active duty servicemen and women, not only in the city of Hampton but throughout Hampton Roads. We are rich in our culture and our heritage as it relates to the military, and I think that will always be. And to have a company like Liberty Source, who values and appreciates being at Fort Monroe in terms of their headquarters, but also who values the military family, to make that a primary target in terms of their hiring is absolutely tremendous. But one of the things, going back to the call center, the customer contact center companies, Hampton has a rich population of those companies, and I think we always will be an attractive landing spot because of our workforce, but also because of existing buildings and facilities
Right.
that are ready-made for them. Those companies hire a lot of people, and we continue to, again, just be a location of choice for them.
And let me just, if I can, call out one of them in particular,
Sure.
because Faneuil has not just a call center here, but their headquarters
Their corporate
here.
headquarters
And
is
so
in
the
downtown
corporate
Hampton.
headquarters is kind of a well-paying and a good thing. We need more corporate headquarters.
We
You
do
know,
need
that's
more.
a great thing.
We do need more corporate headquarters and regional headquarters operations. It is, customer contact centers, they provide employment opportunities for people who have a broad plethora of educational background and professional experiences.
Wide plethora. That means you don't have to necessarily be experienced.
You don't have to
You don't have to have a college degree.
You don't have to have a college
You have to
degree, but
be
you still have
competent, talented, and
Exactly.
pleasant.
You have to know how to work and interact with people. You have to know how to communicate
they teach
clearly.
good
You have
skills,
to
right.
know and understand customer service. It's worthwhile work. It's worthwhile
is.
work that employs a lot of people, not just in the city of Hampton, but across Hampton Roads as well. And there are high-paying jobs that go along with those as well. And so at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, we're about to I'm going to ask you a little bit more about jobs, but I want to get back to retail first, because we didn't talk about grocery stores.
Okay.
The grocery store landscape in Hampton has expanded dramatically in the
Yes.
last year. It's
Where
fun.
do I start?
Yeah.
Particularly grocery anchored development has been booming from a retail standpoint. And Hampton is fortunate to have the two new German-based grocers to open up retail locations in the city, Lidl and Aldi. Lidl's store was a wonderful redevelopment project. It was an older hotel that they purchased and that they demolished and made way for a beautiful new grocery store. We're very proud that was one of the first Lidl grocery stores that opened in the United States. And also Aldi, which is on a portion of the former Langley Federal Credit Union building site. Again, options. Options for our citizens, whether it's someone doing their grocery shopping for the week or someone who's just stopping in to purchase something. We're still very excited about River Point, the repositioning of the Riverdale Shopping Center. At Home has opened.
At Home is an awesome place. It's like giant, man. Oh man, you can find anything there.
Soup to nuts. It is a great place.
I bet you they have 10 aisles of pillows. It was awesome. Awesome.
Pillows,
colors,
lamps,
size. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wall hangings, outdoor furniture, lights, and even the nice candy in the checkout aisle. But it's been a great project. A lot of people have asked.
It's moving slower than some people want.
It is moving slower than some people want.
But there were people with leases. There was a lot that had to be done.
Yes, we are still
with
very
that transition.
optimistic about the finalization of that redevelopment and repositioning. It's just going to take a little longer than we originally anticipated.
Everything takes a little longer, doesn't it? I mean, that's what I've learned since coming to the government.
For me, if it happened yesterday, it still wouldn't be fast enough.
Neither you or I have a really lot of patience or attention span. Well, briefly, I know we need to close, but let's talk about downtown, because people have been critical. There have been a lot of downtown master plans. There have been a lot of ideas for downtown, and it hasn't moved a whole lot yet. And I know the national recession intervened and the slow recovery, and what's going on?
So downtown, we've been working in partnership with the Hampton Redevelopment and Housing Authority to identify a team to come in and get development moving in downtown Hampton. And we are really fortunate to be working with the WVS Companies, which is based out of Richmond, and Saunders Krause Architects, which is based out of Virginia Beach. We've been working with them for close to a year now to not create a new plan or a new study, but rather the implementation strategy so we can go vertical with residential and commercial development in downtown Hampton.
Go vertical, that means multi-story, right?
That means dirt turning.
Oh, dirt, okay.
Construction activity, us seeing the plan come off of the printed paper and come to life. We've had a number of community meetings about that, meetings with the Downtown Hampton Development Partnership, Hampton First,
Nearby residents.
Nearby
You've got
residents.
Pasture Point,
Yes.
and some people call it Little England, some people call it Victoria, but you've got a lot of neighborhoods
Yes.
around downtown.
To share with them the concepts that the development team would like to proceed with, and where we're at now in that process is just finalizing the list of parcels and properties that we would actually put into an agreement. I'd also like to point out, Virginia Tech is an important part of our downtown redevelopment plans and strategy. Virginia Tech Seafood Agricultural Research and Extension Center.
Thank you for not using the acronym.
Also,
People don't even know it's there.
It is a wonderful research facility on our waterfront for decades. And the wonderful thing about it is it really does tie into Hampton's seafood culture and heritage. They do world-class research from an aquaculture standpoint. They do a lot of work to support our local commercial seafood industry. The Wanchises of the world, the Amory Seafood, the Graham and Rollins.
Consumer safety.
Food safety, Serve Safe. So when you go into restaurants and you see Serve Safe certifications, that's training that's done by the Seafood AREC. They add tremendous value to not just the seafood industry, but the restaurant industry. Their research facility is very dated. It's limiting in terms of the volume of research that they're to do.
They have people who need stuff done that they can't meet
Exactly.
the goals because they don't have lab space. They don't have enough tanks.
But also their facility is prone to flooding.
Yeah, we have that problem. That's another topic.
That's another topic. And so our goal and objective is as a part of the redevelopment plan for downtown Hampton, to work with Virginia Tech and the Virginia Tech Foundation to see them in a new research building still in downtown Hampton. And in a scenario where we're able to open up a little more of the waterfront to add greater pedestrian access, and also to add a waterfront seafood restaurant.
Which we need in Hampton.
Yes.
You can get talk about the Bark and Dog. You can get fish tacos at the Bark and Dog, but there isn't much. Well, okay, the Dead Rise is in Hampton.
Yes.
And that is a waterfront seafood restaurant.
Right.
And it's fabulous. But we need something more than that.
And that is.
And Surf Rider.
And Surf Rider.
Not downtown exactly.
And when we say, our desire is to do that, it's not to minimize or understate the importance of the other restaurants in the city of Hampton.
I'm not going to eat out at the same place every night.
But it's to add something else to our DNA. And again, just give people more reasons to come and see us.
So that project, we hope will get moving. I know how long it takes to sign legal agreements.
Yes.
We won't see what you call dirt turning for a little while, but it is.
In a perfect world, by the end of next summer, we will see substantial construction activity.
And those things, we announce a project and then it takes a while till you see dirt turning and it takes a while till it just all seems so slow. Let's also talk about the renovation, which will be happening, I think, fairly soon, of the hotel downtown.
Yes.
Needed a little facelift, hard to maintain a property that gets that much, it's not flooding, but it's on the water, and they're going to do some really exciting things with that as well.
We are really excited that Shameen Hotels has purchased the Crown Plaza property in downtown Hampton. The Crown Plaza is another full-service hotel in our market. We're really excited that the property is going to be rebranded and renovated as a Tapestry by Hilton, which is Hilton Hotels' newest boutique hotel brand. And Shameen Hotels, they're just world-class. They own and operate the Hampton Inn and Coliseum Central. They're very conscientious about the work that they do and the quality of their properties. And again, just really, really excited to have the opportunity to work with them on this.
We've talked for twice the normal round robin segment because there is so much going on. I think people see one piece at a time and don't put it all together like you have done for us today. So we'll just make sure, if that's okay, that you come back about every 6 months and we update folks, because it is an exciting time and the economy is moving again and people are ready to live here and we got to have places for them to live. So let's get it moving.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Leonard.
The hot seat isn't so hot now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you piece together all of the exciting new developments in Hampton: retail, entertainment, restaurants, and jobs, which we're still working on. We didn't even get a chance to talk about our wonderful office parks and the opportunities there, but we have given you a little bit of an update. So stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.